Uh, so I want to talk about our front-end workflow. Right? Let me introduce myself. I'm Siddharth. You might know me from Twitter. I'm Siddharth KP over there. I tweet all sorts of garbage stuff. You should definitely follow me. I also do a bunch of open source stuff on GitHub. If you use any of these stuff, come talk to me. I love when I find someone who actually gives it back. I also do this thing where I try to learn what's happening in the JavaScript world because it changes so fast, and then I just speak to a camera awkwardly and put it on YouTube. So if you're into following JavaScript stuff, you can do that. Enough about me. I work for this company, AllZero, which tries to do like security stuff for login. It's pretty cool. All of them have to say this. I work there. It's part of the whole contract. So awesome stuff. Please use it. The fun part is we use a bunch of React and AllZero, right? So that's why I want to talk about our front-end workflow. And the interesting thing about our front-end workflow is that it's broken. Right? It's pretty bad. So I don't want to say everyone's front-end workflow is broken, but if you find some of these parts relatable, right, then that's a sign that your front-end workflow is probably also broken, right? So disclaimer, this is our story. I'm not saying you're that, maybe you are. Figure it yourself. So the first symptom, or why I say it's broken, is because of quality. Right? Let me give you an example. So this is what our designer designed in Sketch, and this is what was the final implementation. Right? So it's pretty close, but you see like the finer details, like the icon is inside the input, right? That didn't happen. Right? So it's difficult, you have to like include it. It's more work to get that final level of graph. So that, and there are deadlines in the world, there are like other business people in the world who impose deadlines on you, right? There are laziness in the world, right? So in the end, this is what usually happens to us. We end up implementing something which is not as good, but it's close, it flies. Then sometimes the designs come up with like awesome animations like this, right? There's this thing that they're really like, excited about called motion design, right? It seems to be a popular thing. So this is something that they gave us, like, can we do this effect on our cards, right? And like the default reaction of developers is like, we don't have time for that, right? This is like difficult stuff. We got to like, build products, the users are waiting, things like that. So we're not going to do it. So that happens. The second thing is about consistency. So this is like across 3 different products that we have that our users have to use. And this is like the thing that exists on the right top corner, right? You drop it and you see user details. So it's like this order. 3 different products, this is how they go. So they kind of look the same, but they're not exactly the same, right? I really like the third one because it just says log out, like get out of here, right? So the interesting thing is like they kind of seem, so the developers are like, don't see the problem in this, but the users do, because they have like these tiny differences to keep learning, right? For example, over here, if you click on my name, it actually opens my profile. When you click here on my name, nothing happens, because this is just like info. So if you have like inconsistencies in your UX, the users actually have a hard time following your product. It's bad for business. And then there's this like old ass joke, right? If you actually look at all the hex codes in your app, you're going to find 50 shades of green, right? So, like old designer joke. If you have designers, people would laugh, but I get the audience now. Good. And these things are not necessarily the cause that I talked about. Those are the symptoms that you have a problem. The problem is a communication problem or a collaboration problem between designers and developers. Right? And it comes from this wretched thing called handoff. Right? How many folks work with designers? Like, how many of you are designers? One guy, two guys.
Software designer? Only software?
No, like, not like visual designer, not talking like architects and stuff. Like, designers, right? Cool, so I'm going to talk a lot of shit about designers, so sorry, but I'm going to buy you an ice cream later. How many of you are developers who work with designers? Awesome, right? Good order. Good. So you're familiar with this thing called handoffs, right? It's where your designers build like these excellent, pretty mock-ups in Sketch. They go into a cave, they build something nice, and they come out and they give you this, right? Or maybe they give you like images or a PDF or something, and you're just looking at like the spec and like which screen comes after what is this color and all of those things, right? Like, what is the flow? How do I understand all of this? Right? And it leads to one of 2 things, right? Either you spend a lot of time talking to your designer, where you think this color is actually this hex code, right? Or if your designer is somewhere else, right? Like I work remotely, my designer is 12 hours away from me. So we just send a lot of still trying to make handoffs better, right? And handoffs, like, my theory is that handoffs as a concept are the root of all of these problems. So what's the solution, right? Enough to do. Bootstrap tried to make a solution. So Twitter tried to make a solution in 2011. They called it Bootstrap, and they succeeded in making every website in the world look the same. Right? That was it. That was the issue. Right? So like any self-respecting front-end company, we built our own version of Bootstrap, right? We created style guide. It had buttons and everything, and it's nice. It worked, right? We had like primary buttons, secondary buttons, all of those things. Fairly simple to use. You drop a div, you say this is a button, I want the default button. If you want an icon inside it, you put an I tag, and you say the class is button icon, and this is the icon I want. Right? This is how like I was used to building stuff. Now the interesting thing about this is a really good abstraction, right? Because you don't have to necessarily care about the style or necessarily care about the CSS because somebody else does it, and you include that style tag and things work. You just care about the structure. Now one day the designers kind of do user research, right? Which is code for the top to 5 people, and 5 people said that the icon on the right is a better design, right? And it's like fine, they did the research, right? So you can't really argue with it. That's better UX, that's better UX. That's what our users deserve. So to get the icon on the right side, you not only have to change the CSS, you also have to change the DOM, right? Like success with icon, the text has to come before the actual I tag, right? So that it's semantically accurate. You don't have to like do margin left, negative, and things like that. So this is where like it came so close to solving your problems, but it actually doesn't. It's very good to start up, but then the moment you have to change things, it's like a leaky abstraction, right? I say leaky abstraction because like the style guide doesn't solve all of the problems for you. If you have to make a change, you have to change the style guide and also change everywhere you use that style guide. And this is what happened to us. So we did have this, but then the designers wanted to do a refresh of the design, and it basically meant going to like 20 developers and saying, please change this, right? And you can guess what happened. It never happened, right? Because the developers were like, icon on the left, icon on the right, what's the difference, right? It's not worth my time. I have to fix this Redux, Apollo, store, GraphQL thing, right? Which is obviously cool. So yeah, I go for that. So the turns out, like surprise, yeah, conference. Component is the right abstraction over here. So this same thing that we built earlier, check it out. If it works like this, right? You have a button and you have a prop which is icon where you say I want the package icon, right? And it works on the left side. So not only your styles are abstracted, but also your structure inside the component are abstracted. If the designers decide to move it on the right, they can. You just need to upgrade whatever library version you have, and the DOM doesn't change, right? Your usage of the code doesn't change, which is super great, right? And this is fairly new because components were a pattern. I think people were doing widgets for a really long time, but it wasn't as accessible. React made it so accessible that now it's like everyone's using it. That's why all of us are here. So it led to this starting of this thing that we call a design system. Right? We started building our design system because like, people got crazy when this abstraction came out, right? Suddenly all the developers said, yes, I should be on the right, it's better UX, right? The moment you don't have to do the work seems fine, right? I only have to upgrade the NPM version, better UX is what I use this result now. The design system is called Cosmos, it's open source on GitHub. You can go to github.com/auth0/cosmos and look at all the horrible code I've written. But what is a design system, right? So let me try to do this. I borrowed words from Airbnb's design language I'm going to butcher his name, Gary Saranen, and he says design systems are a set of shared and integrated principles and patterns that define the overall design of the product. Right? The keywords here are shared and integrated. Right? So design and developers are using the same principles, and which defines the overall design of your product. Right? So it's usually specific to your brand or your product. So components are still part of it, right? We still have a UI library. It's one of the things, right? You have like a bunch of other things going on, like the brand and the visual language, the voice and tone of it, right? What are the dev standards? What are the UI standards? The design as like sketch file, Photoshop files, everything, right? So the entire thing is design system. Part of it is still the UI library. Let's talk about some techniques. So I'm going to talk about a bunch of building blocks that go into building the design system, right? So that you can also like pick the parts you like and implement it. Design systems are kind of like implement creates a unified flow across your application. If everything follows the same spacing, you can try to match this by saying it looks like it's from the same grid because it follows equivalent spacing. Your UI looks cleaner and all of those things. But for me, the bigger win was I don't talk pixels anymore with my designers, right? They say, can we use an extra small spacing in the button, and then after the button, give a medium margin, right? So the fact that we can start using English and it starts making sense when you say these things, right? Like I want a medium margin here, and this is a new section, so we want a large margin here, right? And I don't even care about pixels. I say spacing dot large and put it in my code, right? So it kind of unifies all of the communication. The other good thing about this is, the other good thing that we do with tokens is colors, right? So we have one set of colors where you say, white is just one color. Gray, these are the 5 shades of gray that are allowed. The only 5 shades of gray that are allowed, right? And you have blue and the 5 shades allowed. And then you create another layer on top of this. These are brand colors, right? So you say, and I call this conventions, so it's like success, right? Every time I have to show a success notion, say a button which shows a successful state or a tick that shows a successful state. This is the color you use, right? So you say success.background is what I'm going to use. If it has a foreground, it has like text on top, that is going to be success.foreground. Right? So now I'm not even talking about green or blue or what should be a state. I'm talking about we're not talking about how it looks, we're talking about what is the purpose of it. Right? So success buttons, green ticks, what do you call it? The loading states when it finishes, all of those are success stuff. This is the tokens we use. Same thing goes for destructive. If you have a delete button, you say the background of this color should be conventions.destructive.background, right? So that's one part. The communication is easier. The colors are in one place, which I really like. The other interesting thing is if one day our brand decides that success is now not green, we're going to make it blue across, right? You don't have to go to every developer. We're going to change it in one place. We're going to say instead of colors.green.light, it's going to be colors.blue.medium and sorted. Like the entire application just kind of flows with it. So that's really powerful. The other interesting thing is I call them brand guidelines because these colors kind of make your brand, right? This is the DNA. So for Airbnb, it's a lot of pink, red kind of thing. For Facebook, it's more blue stuff. Like if you see a Facebook like button, right? You don't need someone to tell you it's Facebook. You just like the value. So it's the same color everywhere, right? You've seen it so many times across the same pattern. So that's what we're going to do. So of course we use it in React. The other thing we also do with these tokens is that we export it as JS variables or like as JSON so that other like our Vue apps, our Angular apps can also use them. We export it as SAS variables. We also export them as XML, so our native developers can also use it, right? So even if they're not using the UI library that they're writing in React, they can still at least use the same conventions, right? Like Android also has a success button, right? So if you use the same conventions, you still feel like you're still in the same company, using the same product from the same company, right? And that's very important. The next part of it is the component library. So this is an interesting code by Mark Daglish. The key part of it here is that when you're building a design system, you want to prioritize the API stability over any implementation needed. Right? So that's why when I say all of the code is garbage, it's intentionally garbage because we haven't spent enough time improving the code because we're busy improving the surface of the code. Right? So when you use an icon, it's like icon name analytics size 20. Right? The button is primary, icon is common. Right? There's a switch which says on toggle. Right? So all of these props is where we spend a lot of time figuring out what feels the most intuitive. Because the goal of your any component library, actually any library that you use is the first 2-3 days you will read the docs a lot. You'll have to handhold it with the docs. But then after that, it should just become intuitive. Right? Like now when you have to create, say, a higher order component, right? You don't have to necessarily look like I still have to look up the docs, but you don't necessarily have to look up the docs because you know the concept how it works, and then you just like. So that's kind of the key. It should be intuitive. It should become a habit for you. So that's why it also needs to be super consistent. And the fun part is, you see this. we have tabs, which is a React component. And because React components are objects, you can actually just put stuff inside them, right? So you can say tabs.tab is also a React component. So the good thing it gives you is that if you want tab and like the parent tab, you don't have to import two things, you don't have to figure out what all to import. It always comes together as a group. So, and the API is more intuitive, right? So you say tabs.tab, the label is this, and this is what you want to render inside the tab. I really like form as an example. So you say form, and I say form.text input. So the thing that this gives you is, you mentioned the type, you mentioned the label, and then the system, or basically the component library, figures out where to put this label next to the input box, right? So you're not trying to compose everything, you're not saying this is the form, this is the label, then there's input text, then there's a description of what this input is. Using form.text input, and you're mentioning everything as a prop, and letting the system handle everything else. So there's form.text input, text area, actions is also interesting. I'll show you more forms soon. The next thing, which is so important, is documentation, right? So I love asking this question because I used to be this guy. How many of you document your code? Just raise your hand. No, that's very impressive. That's more than I expected. How many of you like doing the documentation? That's more than I expected. That's super cool. I'm going to talk to you guys in fifth grade. You're going to teach me how to start learning. The fun part about building a system or a component library is documentation is the product, right? If it's not documented, people don't know how to use it, right? And it's a thing that I'm building with like 3 other people in my team, right? You can't Stack Overflow and say, Auth0 internal implementation, how does it work, right? It's our job to document everything, to answer all of the questions. Like, we are the Stack Overflow. It's something sad, but it's true. So documentation is the product for us. So there are like very good libraries to do this. There's React Storybook, I'm sure you've heard, and there's also React Style Digest. Both of these are like brilliant starting points for building your documentation. We kind of ended up building a custom implementation of our own. Let me try to show you. Yeah, so this is like the landing page. It just shows you colors, and it's like this is why designers do this thing, emphasize the point. But documentation, wow, I forgot. So documentation is like boring stuff. How do you get prepared? The guiding principles and all, right? And check out these components. This is what I really like. So you have components, and then what we want from people is like these are all the props that you can use. So you can say I want a primary button with icon copy, and it actually shows you the preview, and it gives you the code which you can copy and paste, right? So this was kind of like the turning point for us, where to learn how to use the library, you go to the docs, but you don't have to think a lot. You can configure stuff and you copy paste code, right? Which, to be honest, is what we do all day anyways, right? We copy paste stuff from here and there. So this was the goal. Like, don't try to be smart, just copy paste. It works. Things like icons, right? Icons is surprisingly tough because you never know what the icon name is going to be, right? They're so unintuitive for me at least, right? So there's like size, I want to make it a 36, right? I'm going to just make it like a red, right? And I don't know what to put here, right? Like, I want a trash icon, right? The dustbin, recycle bin icon. I don't know what to call it. So we made this like fuzzy search kind of thing where you say I want trash and it gives you delete, right? So because trash and there's like some long list of areas going on, and then I copy delete and I put it here and then I copy it and never think about how does this happen, right? So this is how like we're kind of building the documentation, because this is what the product is for me, right? This is what people will spend most of their time on, not really on that code. This needs to be perfect. Good. Thanks so much. Yeah. Then the next key part about this is that the design decisions that the design team wants are actually baked into the system, right? Let me show you by an example. So you have a page header. I'm sorry, like this is the time before lunch and I'm showing you cupcakes, so page header, right? So you have headers on every page. You don't want to figure out how it works. So you have a page header component, you give it a title, it drops that tag, right? Now you don't need to know what color is this, is it an H1 tag or an H2 tag, all of that. That's implementation, right? You say I want a page header with title. And you say I want action. This is the primary action, this is what it calls, this is the icon you want to use, this is the secondary action. And then the system decides, is it left aligned, right aligned, bottom, primary action is on the right side, or this primary action on the left side, right? So all of these are like things that your designers spend time on, right? They do the research, it's their job to figure these UX details out. actions should be in this web page is what you care about. Same thing goes for form. So you have form, you put text input, I really like this example, so let me try to do a little more show off kind of a demo for this. Yeah, so this is one page which is empty. I'm gonna try to put some live code here. Right? There's a form. Right? This much I can guess. There's a form. Right? Now I don't know what to do next. I'm gonna go to the docs. I'm gonna search for form. Yeah, and this is a text input, right? So I'm just gonna copy the text input and paste it here. Right? Hopefully everything works. If it doesn't, because form is not defined, so I have to import it from the template. Still doesn't go wrong things. Yes, this works now, right? So you have field, you have label. Let me try to put a text area as well. Text area. I'm gonna put a switch with some label here. It's by default on, let's say, right? And yeah, all of these just keep going. The fun part is that these are left aligned. All of this is aligned. The switches here, it has like an accessibility label on it. I don't care, right? I'm just trying to build a form, right? So I care about what is the text that I want, right? What is the label, but how is it designed? I don't care. Same thing goes for form actions. Again, I don't know maybe I'm going to go to the docs for action. Copy. Cool. So I have these two. I don't care about. Okay, let's just name this. Yeah, I'm going to say save. So the only thing that we want our developers to care about is the implement or the logic part of it, right? So you've heard this differentiation between smart components and dumb components, right? So we want people to worry about the smart components of their application and we take care of the dumb part. So for example, the save is your customer implementation. The only thing we want is tell us when you click on this button, what function to call. Right? Yeah, and it's aligned. So it's aligned to this part and not to this part. So all of these are like design details that your designers care about. You will never have a conversation about how much margin is between these two buttons, right? Which was like the main thing, which was the happiest point in my head. Now imagine that the design team does UX research, right? Which is us 5 people, and they say forms on the top look better, right? Which is actually happening in our company. We realize that if you want to make nicely responsive stuff, form on the top is the only thing that works. On mobile, you can't even. There's not enough space to have form left. So the fun thing that we were able to do is we can create a prop for that. So there's a prop called layout label on the left, or you can switch it to label on the top, and the form changes. It takes full space, it changes. Again, funny part, you don't have to care because the designers spent enough time to care about this and actually built it that way. So now when I do this, it actually works. So the interesting part about why it's an extra prop is that you can't introduce breaking changes because people get mad. I've done that, people are very mad. I feel bad. If you use React routers, then you already are mad, I guess. Because every major version is an API change, right? It's nice changes, but people have to pay for it. So you introduce a prop, it happens. It's easy to convince developers to do UX stuff because they don't have to do the work, right? Somebody else has to do it. So it works nicely. Good. The design assets are synced, right? What do I mean by this is, if you have a UX, if you have a, say, a UI kit, right, which is only CSS and not the designer stuff like Sketch or Photoshop library, then it's going to fall out of sync pretty fast, right? Because the moment you introduce a new pattern in the CSS but not in the Sketch file, the designer doesn't have it, or he introduces something new in the Sketch file but it's not in the CSS, somebody has to put it there, nobody's got time for that. So it needs to be in sync. I'm not going to try to sell this much too much. There's Airbnb and Grazely who are doing excellent work on this. There's React SketchUp and there's HTML SketchUp. We use the second one, which basically says that the code or the component library is the source of truth. And then we take each component, like a button, put it on a white page, and create a sketch component out of it, and it goes into the sketch library for the design. So they're not designing buttons either, like the developers. They're just using the button, right? And there are like 2 people who are designing from scratch. The key parts there is like Sketch has symbols, so your React component and your Sketch symbol should be a 1:1 mapping. Your React prop and your Sketch override need to be a 1:1 mapping. Right? This mainly solves the communication problem for everyone. So communication being the same is like the key over there. So, how much time do I have? Well, awesome. So some pro tips if you're thinking of designing a component system, right? Always prefer consistency over flexibility, right? And this is kind of like a thumb rule that you have to keep reminding yourself, because as developers, for us it's very easy to say it's slightly different, but I can just introduce a new prop and like add an edge case and it will work, right? And everyone will be impressed. The thing is, you constantly need to ask this question that does this variation really need to exist, right? Does it add value, or can we just use the same thing, right? So consistency is always better than trying to handle all of the cases, because the fun part is you also have to maintain all of those cases and test those cases every time. So having one solution that works for multiple cases is the key. Second is build the abstractions, but also ship all of the building blocks. So for example, I showed you form and I showed you a page header, right? Those are higher abstractions which only confine to us. But the moment somebody wants to do something crazy, right, something very different, which doesn't necessarily fit in the system, they shouldn't be blocked on us, right? So we also ship all the smaller building blocks. Like you have the buttons, you have the icons, you have the margins and spacing. So if you want to start from like a lower level of abstraction and build something very different, you can. Like you have the flexibility, right? As long as you use our smaller building blocks like our brand colors and our buttons. Right? Third is the difficult one. Adoption is the only metric that matters, right? So you might be the best developer, you might create like, the most extensive library, but if no one uses your library, it's useless. Right? Like it doesn't actually have any value. Good learning experience, but I can't get paid for doing that. So adoption is the metric that matters. So you need to kind of talk to a lot of developers, right? Try to figure out what UI problems do they have, and try to solve them in the system, and then go back to them and say, you had this problem, we solved it. Right? And then there's a lot of evangelism that you have to do. Right? You have to get people excited about what you're doing. Right? This is kind of undervalued as a developer because we care too much about our technical stuff. But it's super important to talk about what you're doing, right? And try to, I don't want to call it show off, just like display what you're doing. Like if you think you did something cool, showcase it. Don't feel ashamed about or embarrassed about showing it, right? So I'll give you an example. So we have this team which is like slightly different. They have a different theme and everything, right? And we didn't actually think about that. So, and they don't like our UI so much because it doesn't look like their product, right? So what we did was we created a hidden like Easter egg thing where you put it and then you can switch the theme, right? And sometimes, oh, it did work. So far. Yeah, so you see like switch button is like success is now blue, it's not green like in the other one. The primary colors change and all these things happen, right? So it's slightly like not super awesome, but the fact that it's an Easter egg, it's hidden, right? It got people excited. It's like a game. So we just one day we like implemented this hidden another thing, and then we showcased it that way. That I know we're not building for you, but check this one tiny thing that we did for you, right? And suddenly they had like more faith in us that oh shit, we're actually thinking about our use case, and yeah, we will end up using this. So that's nice. Yeah, so you have to get people excited. People are the more important part. Good. Now the last topic, which is how do you convince your company to invest in something like this? Right? How do you convince that we need a reusable component library and stuff? So as developers, we kind of understand that reusability is a good thing. You don't want to create buttons every day of your life, right? So something like this can actually help a lot. But how do you convince others, right? The alternate title for this slide is people ruin everything, right? How do you talk to people in the language that they understand, right? You can convince them to do something, right? First one is show people what's wrong. Right? So even though I say our workflow was broken, our design was bad, a lot of business people, a lot of sales people, a lot of product people did not have the same opinion, right? They think the company is doing well, everything's fine. You have to show them what's wrong, right? You have to like what our designer did in our team was he actually went through all of the products, picked out things that were supposed to be the same but were not the same, right? And made slides and sent it to everyone in the company that this is why our design sucks, right? And then people saw it, and of course the product people after they saw it realized that shit, our UX is actually not as good as we think it is, right? So our users must complain about this. So this is a bad thing. If you have great product managers who very sync in the design report the users, you won't have this problem. Most of the times they're busy with other things, so it's your job to kind of showcase it for them. Second is speak their language. Right? So when we met our CEO to kind of fund this
some people who